going on, dudes and dudettes? So yes, the House of Victory threw a Legends of Troy event at USC. I think it was on Monday this week, where a bunch of like older players, whether it's from football, other multiple sports, came out, showed their support for the NIL, community, and trying to get this program built up a little bit more. Probably trying to get more donors and all that stuff. So at least they're doing their job. A lot of the ex-USC players to try to get more money, not only for football, but for all the sports as well. Maybe they should be trying to get a softball team out there as well, because I know they recently added lacrosse in a couple of sports, and on both the men and women's side, and that has worked pretty well for them. They've been doing pretty good in that side, especially the women's side, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, it was pretty cool to see a bunch of people there. Even Lincoln Riley, the now head coach, was there. Mark Sanchez, ex-player. A lot of cool people. Ronnie Lott. That was nice to see. So hopefully they will be building up something pretty good out there with that NIL collective. And speaking of that Xavier player I was talking about the other day, his name is Desmond Claude. Looks like he is officially transferring to USC as well to play basketball. So I don't know exactly how many more spots they have left on their roster. I know he's been filling up a bunch of guys throughout the transfer portal. Maybe they have one or two more spots left. So we'll see. I'll definitely update you on that when it does become official, if they add somebody else. But yeah, nice pickup. Here he's a pretty good, solid player out there from Xavier and the Big East. And then there was another player, the Michigan State defensive lineman, Derrick Harmon, who apparently is probably the top defensive lineman left out there. That's why a lot of people are kind of trying to court him, as they say, to try to get him to go play for them. But it looks like both USC and Colorado will be the top teams for him, because I think he visited USC, then went off to Colorado, and then was supposed to go to Miami or one of those Florida schools, and then canceled that visit. So it looks like it's down to pretty much them and whoever else he had on his list. I know that one player we sort of recently talked about, who was maybe a defensive lineman target, Dominic Williams from TCU, apparently went to Oklahoma. I guess they're willing to overpay for someone like that, even if it's just for a one-year rental. I'm glad USC wasn't going to do that, but it's pretty crazy that they're going to pay that much for both him and that Lole guy, who was from Louisville as well, unless he's going to end up going into the portal as well. Again, you never know, but yeah, this is definitely seems like a guy who's a main priority for this recruiting staff to try to fill up one of the more lingering holes on that roster. So yeah, we'll see what ends up happening with Derrick Harmon. Hopefully it is good news that we'll be reporting somewhat soon. And then there was a 4-star wide receiver, Donovan Olugbodi. No, hopefully I'm saying that correct. Apparently he has USC in his top 5 or final 5. So yes, like I always say, once again, it's always nice to see one of the top players out there at that position, especially 4-star and above, considering and putting USC in their finals list. So that's always nice. Then there was they did offer a Grand Valley State, I think that's who he is, a defensive lineman, Javier, could be that, Suggs. Never really heard of him. Jacksonville State, I forget if they're second division or they just a lower Division 1 school, but he looked like a pretty big dude and at a position of need, like I said as well, that defensive line. So we'll see what ends up coming off of that offer. And then there was a 2026 linebacker, Dallas Brandon, who was recently offered by USC, and when he heard the news from his high school coach, he said he was very excited to hear that the offer came through and was obviously juiced up about it. So yeah, this is really good to see when certain guys, especially the younger guys, get excited about USC offers. I just hope they don't automatically decide to come and say they're going to USC 2 years down the road and then all of a sudden have a change of heart. At least he's very excited. We can let that soak in and see how he feels about it next couple of months or a year or so. But yeah, at least he's feeling good, and you're always looking to try to get some of the guys that actually do want to come to your school that you don't have to pay. So that was cool to see. And I did see that USC is tied right now for the longest active streak of years consecutively of having at least one player selected in the NFL draft. I believe they are tied with Michigan with 85 straight years, so like since 1939. I think that's what I saw. So yeah, that's pretty crazy. Obviously, USC had the higher player selected for Michigan this year, but yes, either way, it just looks like those two schools are going to be in it for like the next not only handful of years but decades as well. So that was cool to find out from PFF. So when it came to a bunch of number one seeds recently being said, it was on the women's side quite a bit. The beach volleyball team, after they won that Pac-12 championship, they're going to be a number one seed in their postseason tournament. And also the women's golf side as well, who's a pretty good side of that sports program at USC, is also considered a number one seed. So yes, good luck to both of those groups out there. Hopefully they can bring back the championships back to USC. And there was a James Madison player. I don't know if he's a defensive back or whatnot, but I don't think it said on that post. But his name is D'Angelo Pons, and apparently he's heard from multiple people since entering the portal. And of course, two of those teams that are linked to him are USC and Duke. So like I always say, it's pretty cool when both my teams are involved in the same guy, because it gives a better odds and better chance for at least him to pick one of them. So yes, looking forward to seeing if Pons ends up at either USC or Duke. And I believe the Big Ten schedule has been released for the men's basketball side. It's pretty interesting how they separated everything. I know it's a lot of just only teams they're playing at home, a lot of only teams they're playing away, and then I think there's 3 teams that get the both home and away series this year. But speaking of those teams, yes, I believe there was Oregon, UCLA, and Washington get home and away, but only home games is against Iowa, Michigan, Minnesota, Michigan State, Ohio State, Penn State, and Wisconsin. And then their only away schedule is Illinois, Indiana, Maryland, Nebraska, Northwestern, Purdue, and Rutgers. So yeah, I kind of only don't like that because it kind of just seemed like they went in alphabetical order to just place of who you're playing at home, who you're playing away. But a lot of those away teams are some of the farther teams, like a Maryland out there all the way in Baltimore and all that stuff, and then even Rutgers out there in New Jersey. So those are pretty far trips. So hopefully it doesn't affect the men's basketball side. Hopefully they could just get it done earlier or before any of the snow and all that stuff, or the crazy amounts of snow happens out there on the East Coast. But yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing how these matchups happen with the Big Ten and all this stuff. And yeah, it'll be pretty interesting to see a lot of USC's new opponents that they used to only usually see in postseason play, like the Rose Bowl, but now they will be getting them on a weekly basis, now being part of the Big Ten. So that's going to be pretty cool. Thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Bye. If I don't.